Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
Especially puzzly, thinky, tile placement, cool games.
No, especially to it. We just like playing board games.
We do like most games. Well, today we are going to talk about a new game from Uwe Rosenberg, who we really enjoy. Now, have you played Nova Luna?
This one?
Or have you played Sagani?
Oh.
Well, we are coming to tell you about, I think, the third game in this series of games, and that is...
Framework.
Let's get these out of there. This is Framework's time to shine. So Framework is designed by Uwe Rosenberg and it is published by Pegasus Spiele. In Framework, you will be placing tiles in order to place all your tokens and have the beautiful frames aligned with your goals to make sense and to be quick about it as well. Was that a great description or what?
A better description would be if we jumped into how to play the game.
Let's dive right on in. As always, you'll begin by setting up. Each player will take all 22 tokens of a single color and place them in front of themselves, as well as all the tiles will be shuffled in a bag. You're now ready to begin. Now your goal in Framework is to be the first player to place all your tokens on the frame tiles in your personal display. Now the way the game is played is the first player, the player with the bag, will draw a certain number of tiles based on the player count and place them in the center of the table. This selection is called the offer. At the beginning of each round, you'll draw one more tile from the bag than the number of people participating in the game. Now starting with a person who drew the tiles, each player will take turns in clockwise order, choosing any one tile from the offer and immediately adding it to their display. Now tiles will have frames and tasks on them. As soon as you complete a task on the frame, you're able to place one of your tokens covering it. Now tasks will vary in the game. Solid color tasks will require at least as many horizontally and or vertically adjacent frames in the corresponding color, as indicated in each case. Now multicolor tasks acquire any of the colors in any combination, as long as both colors have a direct connection to the task, so you can't alternate them, for example. Now tasks with a line through it means that only frames in one of the two colors may be used. A combination of both is not allowed. And the last task you'll see is the one with the arrow, and what this one simply means is you have to complete the one on the left prior to completing the one on the right. Now once each player has selected the tile, the player who initially started the selection will get the tile that's left over, which they must place in their personal supply as well. So the player who drew from the bag will always get 2 tiles. Now once everyone has placed their tiles, you'll pass the bag to the left and the same process will happen. You'll keep playing until one player has placed their final token in their personal supply, and at that point that player wins immediately. Well, what were your thoughts on Framework?
I wasn't too surprised.
Okay.
I wasn't surprised by the game. It was good. It was puzzly. It felt like it was down to the wire. We've also only played this 2-player.
That's
so
true.
it felt like it was very like back and forth, where Ilya or I would be like down a few objective tokens, and that would be like how the game ended, kind of thing.
It's really interesting. I like the way that the tiles are presented in this game because it's a drafting. But in the other games, I never personally really consider what everybody else is doing. And in this game, it was very crucial to me, especially when picking the second tile. No, when you're not first, because you're looking at what is the first person, what is Tyler going to get if I don't pick this, he gets this, and what is beneficial to him. And I felt much more aligned to his board than I did to my own board than the other 2 games. Right. So Nova Luna and Sagani are in essence very, very similar to this game. Similar, yeah. Nova Luna has a turn mechanism very similar to Patchwork, where if you are the last player, you get to take turns till you surpass, and that's based on the tiles you draft. And Sagani, I think, is the most different out of the 3 because you are, instead of racing to place your tokens, you're reaching for a certain goal. So depending on your player count, you have to reach maybe 65 points. And in order to do that, you have to cover complete tiles. So I think it feels the most different, and it's, I think, less abstract too because it's very like elemental, where like Nova Luna and Framework are more, here's frames, here's the faces of the moons.
Yes, that is a good point.
Yep.
That is a very good point.
So I guess let's dive in. What sets Framework apart, and why should you check out Framework maybe than the other 2?
Right. Framework has that drafting element, which I think is like a a new experience when you're looking at the other two games. I actually really like it because exactly to Ilya's point, like it is. The other two games are one of those games, or some of the games where you don't necessarily have to be paying attention to what's going on elsewhere. But with Framework, like, I imagine with a higher player count, even that you would run into this situation where if somebody's getting an extra tile that turn, you want to make sure that they're not getting the most beneficial tile.
It's beneficial to go first, but it's also not, because if you get a tile
you get stuck with it,
like
right?
meaningless to you could also obstruct your spaces and ruin your patterns.
And it has to touch.
Yeah.
Like you can't just like put it up in a corner and hope for the best later on. Like it has to work out for you.
Orthogonally adjacent.
Yeah. I mean, most times it does actually work out for you, or there's a way to make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that is a different element to this game compared to the other two that I think like would push it over the top for somebody deciding whether or not they want to pick up a Framework versus the other two.
I agree to that. I think I'll add 2 more points. One of the points is I really like how clear it is with the frames, that the adjacency, because I think in some of the other games it's always like, well, especially I'm thinking Nova Luna, it's like, does the initial frame count to the color? And here, like, sometimes you'll have a frame that corresponds to the goal within that frame. So,
oh my goodness.
So basically, like, it's very clear when you have the
obvious,
goals and when you don't have the goals. The second point I have is the variety of goals.
Yeah, that was
so it's interesting that there's some flexibility and you can mix colors as long as they're all touching that primary goal. You can do one or the other, so you can, if all of a sudden Tyler keeps taking the one color I need, I can be like, okay, I'll shift. Yeah. I'll start collecting these frames in order for me to meet my goal. So there's much more leniency in that perspective, and I like the shift in design from that element as well.
Yeah, exactly. The other point, just even on the tile note, is like you can get ones with triple frames.
Yep.
So like that adds another whole value to it.
Do you get the goals? And that's similar, I think, in Nova Luna as well, because there's some that have more goals.
More goals, yes. Yeah.
So, but they're always one color, so it's interesting from that perspective.
Yeah. Well, and then the one that the tile that is the goal tile for you in Nova Luna, it doesn't count towards the spaces never. It never does.
Yeah, so. It's always adjacent. So it's a different way of thinking. So I guess the moment we've all been waiting for is, how does this one compare to the other two? If you had to pick one, or do you pick one? There's a warranty to have all of them, most of them, 2 of them? Well, how does this fit in the grand scheme of Sagani, Nova Luna, and Framework? I'll kick it off with you.
I can give a blunt answer. Because maybe that's what the people want.
Well, honesty is what the people want. So.
I think with these 3 games in particular, you don't need all of them.
Okay.
I definitely don't. Pick up one of them, and I think it's really dependent on you. In my personal opinion, Nova Luna is the one that takes the lead for me. Framework would be in the middle, and I think Sagani would be last. I like the point system in Sagani, like getting to that point is cool, but I also really enjoy the not necessarily knowing when the game is going to end. And particularly with Nova Luna, I like the action sequence where you're not always going to be going around a circle, taking turns. I think when you add a bit of abstract design to the game, where you're just like, even doing what you're saying with what this game makes you do, but like if you start paying attention to what other people are doing and add that to your strategy in Nova Luna, I think Nova Luna is enough.
For me, I guess the rounded answer is I love the theme in Sagani. I love the elemental aspect of it. I love the turn sequence in Nova Luna the most, but I think this one is the clearest in the mechanics. It's very simple to visualize and just enter the space. So I appreciate that it's done this. I agree with Tyler that you should start with one. If you really enjoy these types of games, there is enough variety between them that you can enjoy them from that perspective. So you can scale up and get, hey, like, we love and that was us in essence in the beginning. We absolutely loved Nova Luna. It's like, obviously we have to get Sagani because it's in the same frame. I think I agree with your
frame.
I agree with your ranking. I think Nova Luna is also still my number 1. I think there's just something so elegant about the action selection. I think there's just a couple of things that I would like tightened up in it. That or maybe potential shifting of goals that Framework done that would elevate it. Framework is a close second for me. I do really, really like the drafting aspect of it. I think in a larger player count, elevate the game even more. So I'm actually, we're playing this on a larger play count probably tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah,
So
I feel like it.
I guess we could have waited. Give you the thoughts. Or you know what? Exclusive hot comment down below. It's going to be pinned. Our thoughts on multiplayer framework. Maybe it changes the game. Maybe it's back up there. But it's very close second to me. And Sagani, it just doesn't compare as much to the other two.
It's just a different game compared to
It is
the
a
other
completely different game. You're doing the things, but with the diagonals, with the whole frame completion, I much prefer these.
Yep.
Significantly. But that's my answer.
Cool.
And that's been our overview of Framework. If you enjoyed what you saw, if you have played any of these, let us know your thoughts. Is this a game that you'll be picking up? Do the frames really intrigue you? Have you worked in framing your whole life and now you just need a game to supplement that?
Or maybe you just like tile placement and abstract strategy, so you decided Framework was the game for you.
Or frames.
Exactly.
What if it was glasses frames? That would have been cool. Framework, but it's actually like glasses and you have to select the glasses that correspond to the person.
No, that doesn't work for me.
Let's make these a little bit more thematic.
Let's re-theme every game that comes to our table.
Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content,
hit that thumbs up button, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because we're happy to have you here and we're glad to talk about board games with you and everybody else that's come across our videos.
And let's make a question for the day is, what is the fourth game? What's it gonna be? What's the theme? What's the theme?
Yeah.
I want it to be cats and dogs. Or pets, you know, domestic pets. You have guinea pigs and you're trying to collect guinea pigs, cats, dogs. And it's just a bit more, I think that will make me happy on the inside. What about you?
Tubes.
Tubes? Ooh.
Like, not
that seems
not
more probable.
tubes.
That definitely seems more probable than this.
but like tubes, like the
like pipelines?
Yeah, like pipelines.
Okay.
I think that would be very cool.
Very Curious Cargo-esque.
Yeah, maybe that's probably why, because we played the game. Yeah.
Two-player month is just seeping back in.
What a good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be cool to see.
That's right.
And Botanic. That's
Botanic.
Yeah, that's the other one that reminds me of it. But
Well, have a great rest of your day.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.